It's the advent of Cyber 2023, and we are on a mission to save Christmas. McGreedy, you are going down. I have the THM Army with me. Let's go. Yeah. I'm a pop a shell, but not what you think. Who am I, root? Make it dead a leg sink. We are on a mission, we're here to save Christmas. McGreedy's going down, forget about the riches. Rumors gone around, McSkitty's got snitches. It's an insider threat, and everyone's suspicious. Recon McRed is hunting down a witness. He says he needs our help, so power on your system. Get your black hoodie, boot up the attack box. Hackers come together and take command of the SOC. It's the THM Army. McGreedy will get caught from the 0x1 all the way up to the gods. And we are live, day number 11, I should say, of TryHackMe's Advent of Cyber 2023 challenge. My name is Tyler Ramsbey. I get to be your host, and we are going to dive into today's challenge. Before we do that, let me just bring you up to speed about what is going on. When I approach these rooms, whether it's TryHackMe or Hack the Box, I don't prep them ahead of time. A lot of content creators go through the full room, and they solve it in like 15 minutes. I always go into these blind so that I can struggle through it with you, and hopefully you learn some things from my methodology and from my troubleshooting. So without any further ado, let me go ahead and share my screen and let's dive into the task for today. I'm gonna get the chat and everything pulled up. I got YouTube pulled up, Twitch, LinkedIn. We are live streaming to all three platforms. So let's go ahead and dive on in. Jingle bells, shadow spells, learning all about Active Directory. So what's the story? Well, Antarcticraft's technology stack was very specialized. It was primarily focused on cutting-edge climate research rather than prioritizing robust cybersecurity measures. As the integration of the two infrastructure systems progresses, vulnerabilities begin to surface. While Antarcticraft's team displays remarkable expertise, their small size means they need to emphasize cybersecurity awareness. Throughout this room, you will see... Sorry, adjusting OBS real quick. Where was I at? All right, throughout the room, you'll see that some users have too many permissions. We addressed most of these instances in the previous audit, but is everything now sorted out from the perspective of the HR user? I don't know. So what are our learning objectives? Number one, understanding Active Directory. And guys, this is huge. I don't have the percentage in front of me, but the vast majority of organizations run AD as their internal environment. When I do an internal pen test for my actual job, I'm almost always in an AD environment using AD attacks in order to compromise the entire domain. And you would be surprised in the real world how vulnerable companies' ADs are. My last internal that I did, I was able to compromise everything in like a day. So they are really vulnerable, but you need to understand the attacks and the ways you can exploit them, and specifically how to do it safely so you don't completely destroy a client's AD environment. So if you want to be a pen tester, knowing AD is hugely important. Number two, introduction to Windows Hello for Business. Number three, prerequisites for exploiting generic write privilege. That's one of the big things you'll see if you run Bloodhound and such. And maybe, I don't know if this will introduce us to Bloodhound, but maybe I'll show that to you guys. Three, how the shadow credentials attack works. And finally, how to exploit the vulnerability. Before moving forward, review the questions in the connection card shown below. Do we need to start the attack box? Yes, I already did it. Do we have a VM? Yes, and I have it, I believe, right here. There's our VM. Is there a split screen available? Yep, and etc., etc. So deploy the VM, press the green start machine button. We already did that. Active Directory 101. Active Directory is a system mainly used by businesses in Windows environments. It's a centralized authentication system. The domain controller, or the DC, is at the heart of AD and typically manages data storage, authentication, and authorization within a domain. You can think of AD as a digital database containing objects like users, groups, and computers, each with specific attributes and permissions. Ideally, it applies the principle of least privilege and uses a hierarchical approach to managing roles and giving authenticated users access to all non-sensitive data throughout the system. For this reason, assigning permissions to users must be approached cautiously, as it can potentially compromise the entire Active Directory. We'll delve into this in the upcoming exploitation section below. So we have kind of just a snapshot of what AD would look like. So you think passwords are hard to remember? Say hello to WHFB. Microsoft introduced Windows Hello for Business, or, WHFB, because that's definitely how people remember it, as a modern and secure... Oh. Come on, TryHackMe, I believe in you. Thank you. I just switch over to the attack box there. As a modern and secure way to replace conventional password-based authentication. You see, instead of relying on traditional passwords, that utilizes cryptographic keys for user verification. Users on the AD domain can access the AD using a PIN or biometrics connected to a pair of cryptographic keys, public and private. Those keys help to prove the identity of the entity to which they belong. The MSDS key credential link is an attribute used by the domain controller to store the public key in WHFB for enrolling a new user device, such as a computer. In short, each user object in the AD database will have its public key stored in this unique attribute. Here's a procedure to store a new pair of certificates with that. Number 1, a trusted platform module. You may have heard of this before. TPM, a public-private key pair generation. The TPM creates a public-private key pair for the user's account when they enroll. It's crucial to remember that the private key never leaves the TPM and is never disclosed. 2, client certificate request. The client initiates a certificate request to receive a trustworthy certificate. The Organization Certificate Issuing Authority, or the CA, receives this request and provides a valid certificate. And finally, key storage. The user account's MSDS key credential leak attribute will be set. And we have kind of a screenshot of what this looks like. And then we have the authentication process. So first is authorization. The domain controller decrypts the client's pre-authentication data using the raw public key stored in the MSDS key credential leak attribute of the user's account. 2, certificate generation. The certificate is created for the user by the domain controller and can be sent back to the client. And finally, authentication. After that, the client can log into the AD domain using the certificate. So we see a picture of it here. We have our client login. We send our CSR to the certificate generator. It goes back to us, and there's our certificate. Please note that an attacker capable of overriding that of a specific vulnerable user can compromise it. And I'm pretty sure it's a shadow credential attack. I'm guessing that's what we're going to do. Enumeration. Now is your chance to shine and ensure no security misconfigurations are lurking in the shadows. So let's get started by dusting off our magnifying glass or mouse pointers. Got it right here. Enumerating the AD for the vulnerable permission is the first step to check if the current user has any write capabilities over another user on the AD. To achieve this, you can use a PowerShell script PowerView with the following command. I usually just use SharpHound and Bloodhound. So if you're new to AD, I actually have some videos on this, but SharpHound is a way you essentially get a loot. SharpHound is a way to enumerate all the objects and permissions in Active Directory. Then Bloodhound is a graph where you can graph everything out. You can mark users as owned, and it helps guide you through fully compromising an Active Directory environment. So if you haven't checked out SharpHound and Bloodhound, be sure to check them out because it makes some of this enumerating of permissions a lot easier. Now in a lab environment, it makes sense. We might be able to manually do it, but in the real world, you might have thousands of users, thousands of different objects, of groups and permissions, and having that graphing functionality is huge. So be sure to check out Bloodhound. But anyways, to achieve this, you can use a PowerShell script PowerView with the following command, which I'm guessing we'll have to invoke PowerView, but find interesting domain ACL. The other thing is I believe, I'd have to check. So when it comes to AD enumeration, you might have to run this from within a domain joined computer, which may limit your options if they have AV or EDR protection turned on. I'd have to look into PowerView. I'm guessing because it's PowerShell, you might be able to do it from a non-domain joined computer with credential injection, essentially doing run as the domain user, PowerShell, and then running it that way. The AD rooms on TryHackMe actually guide you through that process. I'm blanking on which the specific AD network it is, but I've done all the AD networks on TryHackMe. They really are excellent, and they will guide you through how to do that from a non-domain joined computer. Just for a little bit of context, when we do an internal pen test, there's a few different ways to do it, but generally the most common is the client will provide us with VPN access and then maybe a low privilege set of AD credentials. So then we're doing it from a non-domain joined computer, and I'm usually using both Kali Linux as well as a Windows VM in order to enumerate the client's environment. So you have to know how to do the attacks from a non-domain joined computer. When you study AD, that'll make a lot more sense, but that's usually how a typical internal pen test would work. But that's typical. It can be a variety of different ways. They might give you a Windows virtual machine in their environment. You might start with a non-domain joined computer. Maybe it's on site and you have to use Responder to get hashes for your initial entry. There's really a wide way of doing it. Anyways, We can use PowerView to do this. This functionality will list all the abusable privileges. It's then possible to filter for the current user, which is HR, and we are specifically looking for any write privilege since the goal is to overwrite the MSDS key credential link. From the vulnerable machine, launch PowerShell, which is pinned on your taskbar, and enter the following commands. So we're going to switch over to shadow credentials. Make sure I'm not missing anything in the chat real quick. Let me refresh LinkedIn. Okay. I think all is good. Fantastic. Let's keep going. Okay, so let's go ahead and open up PowerShell. And let me make this a little bit bigger for you guys. We'll do properties, font, and we'll do like 20. There, hopefully you can see that a little better and my face isn't too much in the way. If it is, please let me know. So we're going to CD to users HR desktop. Now, if you're new to this, because I recognize a lot of new people might be going through this, CD just means change directory. And in Windows, you can think about the directories as your folder structure in the Windows environment. You're probably familiar with that. And that's all we're doing. We're going to the users folder, the HR folder, and now we're on the user's desktop. And if we dir, we can see we have PowerView, Rubeus, Whisker, and then just a PowerShell link. And we have to go ahead and enable EP bypass, which just allows us to run scripts inside of our PowerShell session. So do PowerShell execution policies. What that EP means, bypass. There we go. And now if we dir it, we can go ahead and import PowerView, which it looks like we can just do it this way. We can also import module, but we'll just do it the way it shows in the task like this. Whoops, if I could spell. And I'm just using the tab key on my keyboard to auto-complete that. And now we have imported the PowerView module. So we should be able to do all the PowerView functionality. And we're going to do that right now with our Find Interesting Domain ACL. So let's go ahead and do that. Find Interesting Domain ACL Resolve GUIDs. Do 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 do. Do. Okay, here we go. And we have a bunch. So as you may see, this command will return all users' privileges. Since we're specifically looking for the current user HR, we need to filter out using this. So I think, guys, we will, once we complete this room, I think I might redo it and show you guys Bloodhound and Sharphound, another way of doing this. We'll see what time it is when we get done. So let's go and type that out to build our muscle memory. I think we need to do this, and then we need to pipe it where object identity, whoops, identity, if I could learn how to spell, reference name equals HR. And then we stare at the screen and we wait. Shouldn't take too long. Okay. So we do see we have our object DN, we have Van Sprinkles, that must be our HR user, and we have the Active Directory rights of generic write. Okay, yeah, we need to know the vulnerable user. Got it. We can filter that out by running select object identity. So all you're doing is we're piping this again. Oh, it even shows us the full command, right? So we're just piping what we just did, but we're going to select the object. So I'll explain it as we walk through it. We're going to pipe the output of that, and we want to do select object, which you can think of AD. Everything is object. So that's what we're doing, select object. And what do we want about that object? We want the identity, reference name, the object DN, and Active Directory rights. And now we stare at the screen again. And here's a picture of it working down here. Do. Hey! Okay, and we can't see the full listing of it. Probably because my screen is smaller. I'd assume it would fill that in. I think you have to use a switch in PowerShell though to fix that, but I can't think of what that switch is. Because here you can see it shows everything as whereas I get that ... It has permission over the administrator object visible on the CN attribute. So I'm guessing if I make this full screen, and run that again. Hey, if anyone knows PowerShell better than me, what is the key in order to print the full text? I've had to do it in the past, but I don't remember what it is at the top of my head. Otherwise, y'all can just look at my screen with me, and we'll figure it out together. That's still not showing me the admin user. Did I do something wrong in my syntax? Okay, whatever. Okay, apparently I can't do all that. So I want to see if I missed anything. Did I do something wrong here? Because I am not getting the same results that we see on the screen. I want to know why. Obviously, it's going to tell us we have generic write permissions over the administrator object, which just means we can do everything. We can update their password and everything else. I'm still not seeing it. Oh, the admin account is just for the example. Oh, thank you so much. So I think what it's telling us is not the admin account. We have generic write permissions, I'm guessing, over the Van Sprinkles account. Is that different than the HR account? Or maybe this is just an example. Maybe I should just keep reading. That's probably a good idea. As you can see from the previous output, the user HR has generic write permission over the administrator object visible on the CN attribute. Later, we can compromise the account with that privilege by updating the MSDS key credential link with a certificate. This vulnerability is known as a shadow credentials attack. This vulnerable user may not be the same as the administrator. Please note that down since you'll use it in the exploitation section. Oh yeah, no, I don't want all objects printed out, Crypto Ghost, but thanks for reaching out, letting me know that. So I think it's saying it's, well, now I'm not seeing the generic write permissions. What the heck? Guys, am I going crazy? Let's go full screen again. Apparently me making my font bigger to help you guys messes up the output. That's why I'm going to show you guys the Bloodhound way pretty soon. Because it's a lot easier than this. And the Bloodhound way, you can do it from a non-domain Java computer, either with Python Bloodhound or using Sharphound with run as credentials. Okay, so now here's the output we were looking for. So we have our HR. These are the objects that we can affect, and these are the administrative or AD rights we have: list children, read property, and generic write. Generic write gives us full control. We can reset passwords and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and copy this down. And let's go to our attack box, and we'll just make a note of that. Oh, get rid of that. Go to Sublime Text. No, we don't need to update. There we go. We'll just make note of that there. Okay, one helpful tool for abusing the vulnerable privilege is Whisker, a C# utility created by Elad Shamir. Using Whisker is straightforward. Once we have a vulnerable user, we can run the add command from Whisker to simulate the enrollment of a malicious device, updating the MSDS key credential link attribute. This task can be accomplished by running the following command. Okay, so let's go ahead and give that a shot, which ours is going to be Van Sprinkles. Is there a help? Okay, yeah, just give us a help. So we're doing add and then our target. Oh, cool. I've never used Whisker. So no path is provided, blah, blah. Target user found, generate cert, generate key credential. Key credential generate the device ID. And then it gives us the full Rubeus syntax to do that. That is awesome. Wow, that's really cool. In your case, you replace the target parameter with the one from the enumeration step executed inside your VM. The tool will conveniently provide the certificate necessary to authenticate the impersonation of the vulnerable user at the command ready to be launched using Rubeus. The core idea behind the authentication in AD is using the Kerberos protocol, which provides tokens for each user. A token, a ticking granny ticket, can be seen as a session token that provides the credentials prompt after the user authentication. Rubeus, a C# toolset designed for direct Kerberos interaction exploitation, was developed by Spectre Ops, a pass-the-hash attack. You can continue the exploitation by asking for a TGT of the vulnerable user using the certificate generated in the previous command. Once you've obtained the certificate, you can acquire a valid TGT and impersonate the vulnerable user. Additionally, the NTLM hash of the user account can be displayed in the console output, which can be used for a pass-the-hash attack. You can now continue the exploitation by asking for a TGT of the vulnerable user using the certificate. Didn't I just say that? Okay, I'm not crazy. Does it say the same thing twice? To do so, copy and paste the output from the previous command. A detailed explanation of what the command is doing can be seen below. Okay, let's go ahead and give that a shot. Okay, while it does that, let's keep reading. So, as the ask TGG makes a request to obtain the ticking granny ticket, user you want to impersonate, certificate to generate to impersonate the target user, the password used for decoding the certificate since it's encrypted, the target domain, the get credentials retrieve the NTLM hash, which is what we need, and the domain controller that will generate it. Okay, there we go. So we have our ticket.kirby right there. And we have our NTLM hash. So now we can use like evil winrm to do a pass the hash attack. I wonder if that's what we're going to do. You can now execute a pass the hash attack using the NTLM hash obtained. This involves leveraging the encrypted password rather than relying on the plain text password. To do this, you can use evil winrm. Yep, kind of what I assumed. Sweet. So let's go and open up our terminal. And we will evil winrm. Whoops. I don't know what I'm doing here. It's on the attack box, I'd assume. Okay, cool. Evil winrm. Oh, maybe if I do a dash u and it's the sprinkles dude. What was his name? Van Sprinkles. Van Sprinkles dash capital H for a hash. We'll copy it right here. There we go. And dash I is going to be the IP of our system. Is this the correct IP there? Of our domain controller. Hey, and we have authentication as our sprinkles dude with the pass the hash attack. So conclusion. All right, sweet. It is short, so I'll show you guys Bloodhound too. We've stumbled upon a misconfiguration after all. In this scenario, an attacker could gain full access to our AD, posing a severe threat to the entire Antarctic craft security system. As for our recommendations, we'll emphasize cybersecurity's golden rule, the principle of least privilege. By strictly adhering to this principle, we can limit access to only what's necessary for each user or system, significantly reducing the risk of such devastating compromise. In the chilly world of cybersecurity, less is often more. All right, so what is the hash of the vulnerable user? Well, we can go ahead and grab that. What is the content on the administrator desktop? Oh, that's over here. Users administrator desktop dir type flag.text. THM Xmas is safe. All right, if you enjoyed this, check out Compromising AD, which I do recommend. And then Sprinkles left some stuff around the DC. It's like a secret message waiting to be unraveled. Is that part of the side quest? Because I'm not allowed to stream the side quests. We have some chat log stuff. Let's show you guys Sharphound, and let me look at the chat to make sure I'm not missing a bunch of stuff. All right, LinkedIn. What's up, LinkedIn? Christopher said, I love your consistency. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Over on Twitch, Kent C said, hello. Oh, I already read that. Cool. Crypto Ghost. Okay, I already read that too. Cool. YouTube. Mike says, cut off on my screen too. Oh, I'm thinking you're talking about like the initial PowerShell enumeration. JSO or Justin said, class break. Looking forward to watching your walkthrough after class. Awesome. Well, thank you for checking in. Appreciate that. Well, what I want to do now, guys, is introduce you to Bloodhound. Now, I could, you know, what I might do, kind of thinking on my feet now, it might be cool to do Bloodhound from my own VM because I don't think I have it installed on my current VM on this computer. So I can show you the full install process and how to do it that way. I think that would be the most helpful for us to do. So let me go ahead and just share my screen for a moment. I should say share my face. I'm going to close out of this stuff. And I'm going to get my Kali VM going. And then I will show you guys from the beginning, if I don't screw it up, how to install Bloodhound, how to get everything up and running, then how to get the loot from the target computer. And it should work. We'll see what happens. Give me just a minute while it all boots up. Out of curiosity, for those of you in the chat, let me know if you guys have used Bloodhound before and what you think of it. I think it's amazing, personally. My Kali VM is slowly booting up. We're almost there. Crypto Ghost says, super awesome. Yeah, dude, it is so cool. Crypto, have you seen the newest version of Bloodhound Community Edition where it's all in a Docker container? You don't have to manage all the crazy Neo4j things and getting the right collector and all that crazy stuff. Here we go. I got my Kali VM open here. It's going to connect to the TryHackMe VPN. All right, cool. We're on the VPN. Beautiful. And now we're going to go and grab Bloodhound. Okay, make sure that's off. Beautiful. Is this the official one or no? Here we go. Here's what I'm looking for. So I saw John Hammond do a video on this, and then I tried it out on my last internal, and it is awesome. So we can do it all over Docker. You can see if you don't have Docker installed, honestly, I don't even know if I have it on this VM. I have so many different VMs, I get confused what I have installed and what I don't. But here's a process, one line command for steps 1 through 3. We're just doing a curl request to our Docker Compose YAML, and then we are launching our Docker container. Which, let me just do this. I don't think I have my user in the Docker group, so we're just going to sudo that one. Do. Maybe I'm going to do it manually. We'll just make hold up. There, now we have it. Oh, maybe it was the pseudo Docker stuff that was messing it up. So we should just be able to copy this though. I think they have an error in their syntax there. No? It should work. I was just bragging about how easy this is. What the heck am I doing wrong? Do I have like a weird version of Docker on here? Oh, no, I need to install Docker Compose because I don't have Docker Desktop. That's our issue. So let's just install Docker Desktop. Maybe I'm not going to show this full process. Did it download it? We'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens. YOLO. So on my other VM, which is Ubuntu, is what I normally use, I must have already had all this stuff installed because I did just copy and paste the commands and everything launched beautifully. Do. And here's the other question. I'm not sure if Docker Desktop will like that I'm doing this from a VM. It might want me to install it on my host system. If that's the case, we're just going to call it quits because I'm not going to go through that process on my host system while live on stream. I think it's dpkgi. Good. I'm glad I have my syntax right there. I don't know how long this will take, guys. So I'm missing dependencies and all that crap. All right, nope, not showing you guys Bloodhound. You have to try it yourself. I have it all working on my other computer for work, but not apparently on this computer, and I don't feel like troubleshooting it. So, guys, either way, thank you for hanging out. Sorry for wasting your time at the end here. But if you do get the chance, go through the process on your own and check out Bloodhound. It is pretty dang awesome. And this usually is super easy to do if you have Docker Compose or Docker Desktop installed properly. I've had issues in the past getting that installed in a VM because it often wants to run on your host system, so you may run into that issue doing it that way. But hey guys, thank you for being here. We'll catch y'all in the next stream. Peace.